Hello, cryptocurrency fans. This is your host, Crypto Trader. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering some information on Dash, how to get Dash Wallet, and also how to buy some Dash. Today's February 1st, 2017. First, I want to thank all my subscribers and welcome the new subscribers that have joined this channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click on that subscribe button as you're watching this video. You will be notified every time a video is uploaded. And if you're not getting the upload notifications from YouTube, as someone had stated in the past, and you want me to personally notify you, please email me at cryptotrader247@gmail.com and I will personally email you when a new video has been uploaded. Before we get to Dash, I want to take a look at Bitcoin for a second and see where it's at in relation to the upward trend line that I drew out on my video dated January 27th, 2017. I'll put up a link in the upper right corner to that video. But currently we're looking at 962.87. So let's go ahead and take a look at Coinbase.com and see exactly what that chart has been doing in relation to the uptrend line that I drew out. And it's the same line that I had on that video, so nothing has been changed on it. But as long as my computer cooperates with me, we should be able to get that chart up pretty soon. And of course I got the spinning depth of wheel. So we'll see how long this takes. If it takes too long, I might have to actually edit the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and zoom out of this. Because basically that trend line does not look good. I think it was a 12-hour chart that I had up before. Alright, here we go. So let's go ahead and zoom into this. Alright, so in that video, basically, I drew out the upward trend line. And it was basically right about here, and it was hovering right above it, and of course we did dip down right below it a little bit, but then crawled right back up, and that was the wedge that I kind of talked about, so when it hit that wedge, I kind of expected it to kind of get an upward momentum there, and really did. Hit 972, 979.99, almost 980 bucks, but there is, we broke that 950, but there is that resistance at 1,000. So we'll see if it hits it and bounces back down, or if it actually just breaks through and the momentum picks up and it keeps going up. So I think, in my opinion, it might trade just a little sideways, just for a little bit, and then depending on news that's out, and what happens with Trump and the U.S. dollar, the yuan, and everything else that's out there. We could see an upward swing. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. But it broke that wedge. It broke the 950, which I was kind of looking forward to. And it didn't really bounce back down below that 950. So it's just going to probably trade sideways just for a little bit. In a couple of days, I'll draw out some new lines, new upward trend, and see exactly where we're going to go from there. But to get back to Dash, Dash is, as many of you know, it's an open source private digital currency with instant transactions. It's basically a digital cash that just about anybody can use. It's based on Bitcoin software, and it allows you to keep your finances private and remain anonymous as you make transactions without even having to wait. Your transaction history and balances will never be available to the public on the blockchain, and this is done through a mixing protocol that they utilize a decentralized network of servers called master nodes. So Dash is basically private, it's instant, it's secure, it has low fees, it's peer-to-peer, and it's also global. There is a website listing about 153 different merchants that accept Dash worldwide. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. And they're called welovedash.com, which I kind of like that name on the website. So they have that 153 merchants that accept Dash, and I'm sure that'll increase as more people start adapting Dash, and then more companies will start adapting it as their preferred choice of payment. Right now, of course, Bitcoin is the preferred choice of payment with a lot of the merchants. So there's about, if you want to check the website out, about 153 different merchants that accept Dash, which is really cool. I do like that it's being adopted and merchants are starting to use it. So definitely check that out and see if there's anything of interest there for you guys. And basically with Dash, it is also accepted, and I just found this out at Purse.io. That's their website, Purse.io, Purse.io, and I'll put a link in the bottom of the description. And you can use Purse.io to actually make purchases, and as it's basically become the most popular altcoin on their website. And also a little fact about Dash is that it's the 7th largest cryptocurrency by market cap, and that's based on coinmarketcap.com, and has available supply of 7,061,246. So that's the available supply. It didn't really list the max supply, and that's kind of what I was looking forward to finding out. What is the max supply that Dash has? So considering they didn't put that out, I'm going to assume that they can raise that max supply whenever they want. So the available supply could definitely go up higher. So we'll see how that plays out. Setting up a wallet is very simple. All you would do is basically go to dash.org. Now remember, it's .org, not .com. So please, don't Google it. Just go to dash.org. And basically what you're going to do is once you get to dash.org, you can scroll down to the bottom here or in the middle. You can click on download, or you can click on download right up here. And once you click on that, it'll basically show you, different operating systems that they support. I use a Mac, so I would click download DMG on the Mac. Now I've already downloaded this and used it, so there's no sense in me clicking on download just to be able to download it. I would love to show you guys on the step-by-step process. But the nice thing about this website is if you click right up here where it says visit the wallet page, there's actually a nice video tutorial that they have under downloads. And then basically what you would do is click on how to install the wallet. And we'll see once that loads. And then on this, they basically have how to install DQ Wallet for Windows, for Mac, for Linux. So it all depends, what operating system you have. But it is a very detailed tutorial on downloading Dash, and it's downloaded right to your hard drive, which is very convenient that it's not, somewhere in the cloud where possibly it could get hacked. So you just want to make sure that your computer has a good antivirus software. You don't have any malware on there, so you just definitely want to make sure that your computer is as secure as it can be. And basically, once you download Dash Wallet and you have your address, now you're ready to buy some Dash. So you're probably asking, well, how can I get Dash? Some of you might know already because you use some of the exchanges that offer it. But if you click on Use Dash, and it says Buy Dash, so you can do direct purchase, and it does list a bunch of direct purchases that you could do, which I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of any of these companies at all. And if you really look really close, it does say, Euro only or UK bank account required. So a lot of them will basically, all of them will say that except for one. And the other one is we sell crypto, and they do allow PayPal. So if you're living outside of the UK, outside of Europe, you could actually use WeSellCrypto.com and to be able to purchase it using PayPal. There's a disclaimer on the bottom of this, and I'm sure they had to put that there. Basically, it's saying that, the list provided is for informational purposes only. Services listed here have not been evaluated or endorsed by Dash developers, and no guarantees are made as to the accuracy of this information. Please exercise discretion when using third-party services, as you should always, use that discretion with anything that you're doing on the web. And then the other one is to be able to use the exchanges that they have available. Let's click on that and take a look at those exchanges there. So a lot of exchanges, and I would say 99.99% of these I've never heard of. So I'll definitely have to do a little research to see, how good they are and their reputation. But definitely stick with what you know that allows you to buy Dash. But one thing I did see, well, two of them that I recognized, Poloniex, that's there. They have a trading fee of 0.2%. And then Shapeshift, which I really like Shapeshift. So, and that's Shapeshift.io. So let's go ahead and click on Shapeshift. And it's probably going to be a little slow loading. All right, here we go. And I did kind of cover this briefly on my prior video, but if you haven't watched that prior video, I'll go ahead and cover this again. So you do have to use a different type of cryptocurrency to deposit that they accept, and to be able to convert it for Dash or any other really cryptocurrencies that you're interested in buying. And they list, tons of them. I think there was about 38 of them. So let's just say hypothetically, I had, we'll pick something besides Bitcoin because that's kind of what I picked before. We'll say, I don't know, Litecoin. And I want to use Litecoin to purchase some Dash. and then you're going to click on, you can click on, quick, you can click on precise. That's completely up to you, but let's just go ahead and say precise. Click on continue. And right up top here, it does talk about the minimum deposit that you can make, which is 0.01548, and then the max deposit, which is 625.81 of Litecoins that you can deposit. So let's just say hypothetically that I want to purchase, let's say, I don't know, or I want to, we'll do 100 Litecoins. So then that would give me 25.352157 dash. Let me just see if we can actually say, you know what, I want to purchase 100 dash and see if it changes. Oh, and it does, perfect. So then let's just say, we want to purchase 100 dash. So then we'd have to deposit 394.46390449 Litecoins. And there's a, don't forget about the miner's fee, which is very minimum there. So then what it's going to ask you is that, it wants your dash address. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the dash address that I have. So you'll paste that on there. And then our Litecoin address, which unfortunately I do not have 394 Litecoins. I wish I did. I actually have 0.000 Litecoins. And then of course you got to agree to the terms and conditions there. Click on start transaction. And then it'll, as long as my computer's not slow. And then basically what it wants us to do is it wants us to make a deposit to this address here. So we basically have to go in and send those Litecoins to that address. So it all depends what exchange you have. You would log into that exchange. Like I have Coinbase. I would log in and send 394.46390449 Litecoins to this address here. And then I will receive 100. So once you actually log into your account, you send it, and there is a time remaining, so you have to do this within 10 minutes. Basically, it's awaiting a deposit. Once you send it, the waiting deposit will change to awaiting exchange. Once that goes through, which it shouldn't really take too long at all, the check mark will be lit up. It'll say all done, and then you'll have your dash deposited right to your dash. And just definitely verify, that you are sending it to the right address. The last thing you want to do is copy something, paste it, and then you end up forgetting the last number, or you end up forgetting the first number. So, rule of thumb is I would always, verify maybe the first two, and then the last two, just to make sure that you copied and pasted it correctly. But that's about it. That's the best way of getting dash, from Shapeshift or and that's especially if you don't have an exchange and you don't want to set up an exchange and give out your personal information. It's a really good way of purchasing some dash. That's about all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this informative. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, comment, like, and share this video. Stay tuned for another video on Friday, which I will be covering the all-in-one wallet to use for 9 different cryptocurrencies. So I'm very excited about this. I won't tell you what it is yet. But it's in my opinion, I think it's one of the best wallets to have, considering they incorporate 9 different cryptocurrencies on that. And I'm sure as time goes on, they'll incorporate a lot more cryptocurrencies. So until then, this is Crypto Trader. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.